He's got one other topic that he would like to visit with you about on the development arena. We were going to try to cover this Tuesday and ran out of time. So, Mr. Collins, you...
Well, we had to learn about mosquitoes.
Yes, but we learned a lot about mosquitoes. So.
Chikungunya is one to worry about, not the other ones.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Zika's not a big deal.
Zika's not an issue. Chicken, you should be good.
I'm not sure I can pronounce that, so I hope it doesn't get widespread.
Glade Parks.
We want that to be widespread.
Are you ready for the schedule?
Mr. Collins, yes, sir. Go right ahead.
There is a roughly 4 acre tract of land that is located between Federal Heath and an apartment on the east side of 121. There is a gentleman that's owned that property for about 20 years. What he will tell you is that they have attempted to market that property for retail, for office, and quite candidly, the only end user that they could get any interest out of was a mini storage, self-storage.
Looks like it would have been a really great picture in like an NTV.
I was waiting
Yeah,
for that. That was north.
I think it would have been too, Tim. I think it would have been too.
Yeah, wouldn't it good?
It
For
was
the record, that is not this site. That's a little further down.
Oh,
further to the
Close
north.
enough.
So, NTV is back, and they're, no. They're not, they're not. If you're familiar with this location, it's got some access challenges, it's mid-block. And again, what the owner of the property would tell you is there's just nothing that we've been able to market for. So he has got a friend of his that they've been best friends for over 40 years, who is a developer. He does development primarily in the Austin area, but he's got some developments in the Metroplex now, and he's done everything. Commercial retail, restaurants, he's done single family, he's done office, hotel, he's done a lot of experiences. What they would propose to do at this site would be an age-restricted, market-rate senior housing. What they have explained to us in a couple of meetings that we've been a part of is in the whole arena of different types of senior housing that would include independent living, assisted living, memory care, just the whole gamut, that in the DFW marketplace, the market has responded by providing all of those different types of senior housing, except for the active living senior housing that is 55 and over, that the individuals that want to downsize, no longer want to maintain their own homes, but are not ready for an independent living facility and don't want to live in a complex with, folks below the age of 55. They've not constructed that. In fact, what they will tell you is that only one new product has been introduced since 2013. There is a group called Myers Research Group that they have commissioned to do an independent third-party study to validate what their belief is about the whole senior housing market. The broker that they've been working with is a guy named Robert Stone that we've dealt with for the last 10 or 15 years. He's never done a development here in Euless, but anyway, we're generally familiar with him and his reputation in the HEB area in Northeast Tarrant County. He's a real solid guy. They got private financing for this, but they wanted to commission an independent study to validate what their knowledge of the marketplace is. And what they will tell you is that the demographics are just awesome in the area. Quite candid, they're going to try to pull from Colleyville, Grapevine, South Lake. But it's real interesting. It's a combination of the demographics being very, very strong, and the age of the group is that sweet spot of that 45 to 65 age group whose parents want to move closer to them to either be closer to their kids or their grandkids. So they feel real strong about the marketplace. So when we say market rate, the last time we had opportunity to talk to senior housing in great detail was the property that John Palmer and the Gardner Capital folks have brought there at Highway 10 between Cullum and Dickey. This is market rate with the lease rates that they're trying to get per month. They're very highly amenitized. They have to be in order to, well, get $3,000 a month in their rates. The difference between what they would be building here is they're going to have elevators in here for just more out of convenience, not necessarily out of anything as though it were independent or assisted living, in which that would be a requirement for the licensing as a type B. You'd have to meet certain standards, etc. That's just an amenity that they would like to offer. The only really difference between this and an independent living would be whether or not they had a commercial grade kitchen in a central location. Really, that's the only difference. But anyway, they would tell you that what they would propose to develop in order to capture the market that they're trying to reach is it would be highly amenitized with that. I believe we've got a elevation, we've got a site layout. Yeah, the elevation to depict the overall quality and the different types of architectural design elements that would bring that quality. A site layout where you'd have one ingress in and separate egress out of the site, and take advantage of the mutual access here that you've got with the Heath Sign Company. Swimming pool, they would park it to meet current ratios. So with that information, that's kind of their sales pitch. They don't believe there's a market for retail commercial. They think it would be viable for the age-restricted senior housing. Y'all would maintain the control of that age restriction, because if it were to be considered, it would be brought forward through a planned development. So they couldn't change a deed restriction or do whatever they wanted to do on their side of the fence. From a land use, y'all would maintain control.
So they couldn't convert it then to, because basically it's just apartments for the get off your yard crowd.
That's, yeah.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
But
And
the
let's-
bottom line is the city council would remain control of that land use.
So they couldn't change it if they all of a sudden couldn't get occupancy for 55 plus. They couldn't come back, they couldn't then just say, well, we're changing it, it's 30 plus.
Exactly.
They
Well,
couldn't
but
change it without
I
coming
want to
back to
clarify
you.
that.
Or it's a hotel now.
I want to clarify that point there. That's why I'm going to bring it. We're not asking for your approval today. We're simply having a discussion because before these people spend a lot of time and energy going through the process, we want to get a general feel of whether if the answer is just absolutely not, or if there would be some willingness to consider it. What you said is true. Through the PD, it would be restricted and they would have to come back. The reality of it is if it failed as a senior housing and was sitting there vacant, it would be apartments. It is apartments. And so then they would be back saying, well, we've got this empty building, council, we would like to just rent it as an apartment complex. And so then you have a separate dilemma. Yes, you have control. You can say, no, it is senior housing, but then their argument's going to be, it's sitting vacant and idle, what do we do with it? It failed as senior housing. So we don't, it's not that we're necessarily, I'm not trying to dissuade you or say it's a bad idea. It would be surrounded by other apartment complex and the complexes that are already there in the federal sign company. So I'm not sure that it is a bad location for it, but I want to be clear that while yes, you could say no, you would probably be facing an empty building. So.
But in reality, as I think I may have mentioned, that's a terrible location for any quality retail business. I mean, you might be able to get office in there somehow if it was a one-end user that wanted to build their own thing there.
Yeah.
And you know, this type of housing is what we hear requests for the most lately.
Well, yeah, but not $1,000 to $3,000 a month.
I disagree. I mean,
Really?
the only thing we have out there in this area is Watermere, which, in South Lake, which starts at 3,000. There's a huge need for this price range.
Question I have, what's the tuck under garage?
They've actually got a floor plan whereby the garage is within the building itself, tucked into the building, as opposed to a detached garage. So out of these multiple units, they've probably got 26 or 28 that would be garages, obviously accessed from the ground floor.
You've
If
got
you
some
go
of
to
that,
park-
Mr. Bonham, at Suite
That's what
2801.
It's a couple of
And
those.
actually, what I still call Mansions by the Vineyard, which is now like Kingston by the Vineyard or
Yeah.
something. You've got some of that as well. You pull into your garage, get out, and enter a door, stairwell, whatever, you're in your house.
Okay,
We
I just,
want a
I
garage.
just, I just never heard, we may have it, I just never saw it in the verbiage, tuck under garage.
Yeah.
I haven't
So
either.
they got the combination of the tucked under, they've got covered parking that is detached outside, and then they've got open parking.
Oh, okay.
I question the amount of parking they're showing there. One space per bedroom, 1.5 spaces for 2 bedrooms.
Right.
That's not gonna be enough parking. Because if it's a husband, wife moving there, they got 2 cars. You know, in Texas, they got 2 cars. We don't have mass transit, so they gotta have 2 cars. They're not gonna have enough parking.
And one guest space for every 5.
Yeah.
The guest spaces are gonna be taken up by the second car.
Exactly, yeah, they're not gonna have enough parking based on that.
And with this PD, y'all can do some different things. That box right there says parking required, that's the city ordinance. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
well, they're just showing you what our requirements are.
Right.
They're actually, I guess it's only 3 more, Mike. They're providing 3 more, but that's the beauty of the PD. You can raise those questions and we can address them.
I don't know how you fix it, because you're landlocked, there's not much they can do.
So,
We'll get, if this goes
Yeah.
forward from y'all, we'll
Yeah,
get a
but then
more
that's
detailed
gonna make it
explanation.
cost prohibitive if you can't put it in a garage.
is this 167 kitchens? Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir, I mean, within each individual
So-
unit.
At what point do we stress out Station 1 to respond to now 167 more units stacked on top of each other? Is my only concern.
Well, I'll piggyback on your discussion, it's more of a medical issue.
Oh, yes,
The
yes.
medical calls are really gonna be the issue with this,
Yeah.
you know, and,
Yeah, because we really have very few fire calls in comparison.
Yeah.
because the demographic this is addressing, the medical call volume is gonna be associated with the
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah.
So I like the complex, don't get me wrong, I like the use.
I do too.
But once again, we're adding more strain on our resources. I support it, I'd go forward with it, I support it, but, we're gonna have a higher call volume, and, you know, our automatic aid mutual aid agreements we have up there, we're gonna have to do some rearranging, I would think. I mean, that's not my call, that's Chief Rhodes' call, but.
We can certainly visit with Chief Rhodes before we bring this forward. I think today the main thing we wanted to hear is whether or not there's even a willingness to have these folks invest their money to continue to do their due diligence and consider bringing it forward, so, okay. Well, we'll-
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anything else in that spot. so.
No, I don't either.
Okay.
I wonder with parking spaces, with all the research they've done, if they had figured out, I mean, it would seem to me that this would be an ideal location for turnkey, or people were gonna be here for 1 month a year, then they were gonna travel for a month, and they were gonna come back for a month, so that may help mitigate some of the parking. But because at these price points, it's people who are gonna leave the yard, who are gonna move in here, but you might ask them, you know, what, if they thought about that at all.
And that was called turnkey living?
Turnkey, yeah, which basically means you walk out of your house and you leave it for a month, and then you come back and you're not worried about anything. They probably have the sensors in the washing machines so that your house doesn't flood.
So, yeah, so you're talking about folks that are taking extended vacations?
Yes,
they don't-
exactly
you
right.
don't worry about
Or-
yard maintenance or anything?
I think
like
on your
that.
first slide, I talked about people whose parents want to come to this area. Well, they might visit this kid for a month, and then they might go to Colorado for a month, and they might visit the Wisconsin family, you know, kind of thing too.
So you're talking about the Mayor Martin type of.
So we will continue to visit with them then, and if they're interested in bringing it forward, we'll try to get answers to these questions that you all are talking about, so. okay.
Yeah, their preliminary market research is very, very supportive, but it hasn't been finalized yet, so they're waiting on that.
Thank you, Mike, for
Thank you.
coming in on your Saturday morning. So.